Intelligent Ramblings with your host, Bill Alton. Co-hosted by Gary Glenn and William Howington with help from John Coleman.
Well, here we are, Intelligent Ramblings, week number 33. I think that's right, 33. How's everybody's week been so far?
Mine's been good.
Earth to Gary, look like you're just kind of ADHing out or old people in out or something. Can't hear anything you're saying. Boom, there we go. Now we can hear you.
There you are. There you are.
Don't we wish we had a button like that? We would just punch. Okay, Gary's finished talking. Boom.
Yes.
Hit that button. Well, I've had an incredibly busy week.
I'd like to have one that...
You like to have what?
I said, what have you been doing?
Well, Friday I was in Athens shooting graduation. Saturday I was working in the garden. I spent about 6 hours in it, and I got a little video on it that I'm going to show a little bit later. Let's see, Sunday I was at Clemson for the ring ceremony. I don't know if you know, but they have a ceremony where all the juniors get their senior rings at one time. And they have this big film on the history of the Clemson ring, and it's pretty damn cool. I've got a lot of respect for it. I'll give you a quick story about one of the honorable parts about the Clemson ring. A Clemson graduate was captured in World War II, and he was involved in the Bataan Death March. You all know about that. A high percentage of the prisoners, the American prisoners, died on that march. Well, when he gets to prison camp, he was not doing well. And it seemed like they transferred him to the Zero Ward, I think they call it. And in the Zero Ward, that means there's pretty much zero chance that you're going to come back out of there alive. That's where they basically send you to die. Well, another Clemson graduate got involved with this guy, or took up with him, or got to be buddies with him, whatever, and he discovered that this guy had taken his Clemson ring off and had put it in his shirt and rolled up his shirt and left it there, never to look at it, never to touch it, because it was gold. And if you had anything like that, the Japanese would take all your stuff. They would take it from you. Your watches, gold rings, anything like that, they thought they could pilfer or sell or whatever, just wanted it. The Japanese would do that. Well, he had put it away in his uniform where it couldn't be found, and he left it there. And he said, that's the one thing I got that I am not going to give up. And his friend found out about it, and what he did was he took that ring and he traded it for some food, and some actual good food, some chicken broth, some chicken meat, and he nursed this guy back to health, the other graduate from Clemson. And basically what it boils down to is his Clemson ring saved his life. And after the war, he came back and was a professor at Clemson for many years. He passed away, I think, in 2021. But they go over the whole thing, and it's pretty damn cool. I've seen it, the film on him, 12 times now, because I'm there for the ring ceremony, and they bring them in about 600 at a time, and they walk across the stage and they hand them the ring, and then they go off. And at the end they have applause, and it's a big ceremony. It's very important at Clemson, and I do it every year and I enjoy it. But that's what I've been up to.
Well, I want you all to prepare for an Arctic blast. There'll be some unseasonably cold weather coming in because I finally got around to putting up my winter clothes and getting out my summer.
Okay.
So quick as
You scared the hell out of me,
quick
Gary.
as quick as I put up my winter clothes. Here it's coming. Polar
You scared the
Express.
hell out of me. I definitely got my chance. Quick commercial. May 4th is Toast of Toccoa. I will be there, and I will be selling my walking sticks. And I have my own tent this year. My own little, what do you call it? Tent, but 10 by 10 tent. You know what I'm talking about. And It will be William Lofton Sticks by William Lofton. I've got a sign that goes out front, and also I'm going to be selling plants. I have like 75 tomato plants that I grew in my greenhouse, and I'm going to bring those with me and a few other plants I've got going, and I will be underselling everybody else.
Well, since you're doing a commercial, I will too. This weekend, not only do I get to MC the National Wrestling Hall of Fame Georgia Chapter Class of 2024 induction, but before that, if you are in the neighborhood, I will be speaking at South Bend United Methodist Church on Clarks Bridge Road this coming Sunday at the 11 o'clock service. So I'll tell a couple of stories, and hopefully I won't scare them too much.
Sounds good to me. Well, on to the news. Trump's hush trial. I just call it the hush trial. Jury selection seems to be ongoing. Last I heard, they had 6. I don't know if they've got any more picked out. It's got to be a crazy thing, because jurors are supposed to be where they're not one side or the other. And with the national headlines and what's going on, I don't see how they can find 12 or 18 people is what they got to find, because they got to have 6 backups. So I don't see how they can actually do that. But so they said it could take up to 2 weeks to get that knocked out.
Well, there's millions of people in New York City, and although Trump is a polarizing individual, you usually either love him or hate him. They can find 18 that are, even though they've been exposed to all the sides, they may be able to render an impartial verdict.
Well,
But
basically,
that's
I just don't
that's
care.
one of the first things
They have
ask.
7 out of the 18 selected.
They have 7.
So they have 11 to go, and they have tomorrow and Friday to do. So it could be next week. They could be starting testimony next week instead of 2 weeks. It's actually going a little faster than the judge said.
Oh, cool.
Oh. Well, and the fact is the defense petitioned for a change of venue, but this is such a national thing. I don't know that you'd be able to find anybody any sooner or quicker in any other part of the country, because almost anybody that's turned on a television or looked at the internet or listened to the radio or picked up a newspaper knows a little bit about what's going on. So just leave it in New York.
It's what would happen for anybody else who committed business fraud in Manhattan. They would be charged, and their jury would come from Manhattan, and that's the way it would work for anybody else. It's the way it should be.
Well, that's what we got to look forward to for the next couple of weeks, or next couple 10 days, is the selection of the jury. Speaking of Republicans, the House Leader Mike Johnson unveils long-awaited package of bills to aid Ukraine and Israel. Isn't that convenient? After he forestalled the bill that both Republicans and Democrats came up with, and they went, no, we're not doing that. All of a sudden, he's like, oh, now we're doing that. What is it with politicians these days? They can say things, and 6 months later, totally different. I don't understand that. I'm a value-centered person. If I say something, I'm not going to change my mind 6 months later. You know, I mean, I just the way I am. I mean, you know.
Well, and he's already getting some flack from some of the really far right Republicans for trying to work with the Democrats on some of this. And I'm kind of saying, well, what do you want? Do you want government, or do you want deadlock, gridlock? What do you want?
Well, that's what
they're not going to like anybody that tries to work.
The far right wackadoos, absolutely. They absolutely want pandemonium, and they don't want anything to happen for the.
You froze, Bill.
Bill froze. Yeah.
Well, I hear you,
I'm
Gary
back.
and Bill, and does it
I'm
go
back.
back to is part of it? He's back. Is part of
Just
it
kidding.
they're just doing what they're doing the bidding of their party and not the people. And
Well, I don't even think the
what's
Republicans are doing the bidding of their party. The hardcore right wingers,
true.
and it's the same way with the Democrats. I mean, don't think those guys are any better. The hardcore left wing wackadoos from the damn Democrats are the same way. Like that senator from where's she from? New York.
She's
Or
a
representative.
She's
Talking about AOC.
AOC, is that who you're talking about?
I think so. She's just wackadoo as the right wing conservatives. She's left wing wackadoo. So you got him in both parties, no doubt.
Yeah.
And they're 100% for doing what they want in their little small-minded way. The hell with the people. They ain't worried about that. They're worried about doing their little thing and causing problems the whole time. I don't see how.
They could put AOC and Marjorie. Put AOC and Marjorie Taylor Greene in a cage match. They'd sell out WrestleMania in a heartbeat.
Oh, that'd be wonderful. I would like to see that. I dislike them both the most. I'd pay to see it in a heartbeat. That's great. I hadn't thought about that. Heck, somebody needs to do a parody on that, no doubt.
Somebody pass it along to SNL. Maybe they'll do it.
That would be. You can see Marjorie Greene, but she'd be talking some shit the whole time too. Yeah, come on there, boy. Yeah. Come on. Oh, sound like a damn redneck woman that she is. I mean, you got to give Marjorie Greene one thing. She don't back down, and what she believes is complete nonsense for the most part, but she's stuck to it. I mean, the entire time she's been there, she's never backed down. I will give her that. I don't like her. I'd like to see her gone. I think she's an embarrassment on the state of Georgia, but she's, at least she's consistent. Kenny said he loves it. That was it, but just think about that. that's hilarious, Gary. I needed a laugh. That's perfect.
I'm glad I'm of service.
Thank you. Iran warns of massive response if Israel launches the tiniest response. I don't really know, but I'm hoping that Israel says, okay, we're even. You guys launched 300 missiles at us. We blew up one building. That pretty well evens it out. We don't need to respond.
No.
I hope they do that.
I wish that would happen, but I don't think it will.
You think Israel will respond?
Oh, yeah. I've got more to say on that a little bit later on when I do my commentary. But here's the thing. If you're Iran, you've got to be absolutely embarrassed by the fact that they launched all of these missiles, all on drones, and what, like 1%, or maybe even less than 1% got through.
Yeah,
right.
And didn't do it, and only caused one injury.
One injury and one airfield that was messed up just a little bit. Not enough to stop them from launching, like off the side of the runway.
Yeah,
there's a big hole.
Israel, I'm with you. I'm with you, Bill. Israel ought to just thumb their nose and say, "Is that all you got?
That's all you got?
We need to be scared of you?
That's all you got? You launched that's your massive launch? Can you imagine what it would be if Israel decided to do a massive launch on Iran? You imagine the damage they would do to Iran?
It would not be pretty.
Oh, yeah. I don't think their response is going to be pretty.
I hope they don't.
I saw. Well, I do too, but and they actually started to do it twice. They've already talked about 2 missions that they've aborted for some reason or the other. I don't know if they didn't think the timing was right or what was going on, but we'll see. I
want to say hello to everybody that's out there. There's a couple folks watching, and appreciate you being here. Please let us know what you think. Netanyahu basically brushed off any calls for restraint. He went, we do what we're gonna do.
He's a war hawk. He's a war hawk, and everybody knows it. So that's what he is. And like him or hate him, that's what he is.
And he's pretty damn good at it. I think if Israel and USA was the same size, we would definitely. I don't think we could handle them. I mean, they're amazing. Their military is, and they've been fighting for 4,000 years. Yeah. So, they've had a few breaks, but not many.
They're not strangers to conflict.
Coca-Cola. That's an Atlanta drink.
Yes, it is.
Pepsi products are not allowed in my house.
Formulated by Dr. John Pemberton.
Atlanta, Georgia. That's right.
Have you guys either of you ever been to the Coca-Cola headquarters in downtown Atlanta?
No, but I think Jill, my wife, has. I think she took some kids there. The World of Coke, they call it. Isn't that what it is?
It's pretty impressive. The stuff they've got. It's a good little tour, and if you happen to know somebody that works there, they can escort you in and show you around more of the place, which is humongous. Those 2 towers.
I'm sure.
It's
just amazing.
Dr. Pepper was bought by Pepsi. It's not an original Pepsi product. Used to be
Isn't that?
But is Dr. Pepper?
It's the oldest soft drink, isn't it? Isn't Dr. Pepper older than Coke or Pepsi? I think it is. But there may be some outlying product or something that's no longer exists that may be older. But I think Dr. Pepper's older than Coke or Pepsi. Pepsi actually began as something called Brad's Drink. That's what it came out as, Brad's Drink, which morphed into Pepsi Cola. The things you learn by listening to Intelligent Ramblers.
No doubt.
We cover it all.
We will give you some facts you've never heard. At least our opinion on the effects.
And if we don't know them, we'll make them up.
That's right. It's our opinion on the facts.
Works every time.
Okay, guys, let me ask you something. there's been 2 more endangered ferrets that are gene copies. They're alive. 2 female ferrets from a extinct or endangered species have been cloned. And they're now walking around. They're trying to clone some more, and maybe they'll get a male next time, so they can redo the species on the planet. And they got their DNA from some ferrets that they found frozen from 1980. Now, that seems kind of godlike to me. I mean, do we want to have animals back so badly, the ones that have been extinct, that if we find one of them frozen, which happens all the time because you get a lot of ice around the place, do we want that? Is that something that we should do to redo the species?
It's sort of Jurassic Park kind of stuff. You know, there's been talk of reintroducing mammoths or mastodons because they found some of those in the ice, and by trying to clone them via an African elephant, which may be one of the closest relatives they've got left of those. In Australia down there, Mike. In Australia, they're trying to reintroduce the Tasmanian tiger, which is more like a wolf, a marsupial down there. And there's an ongoing effort to bring that species back. Although some people in Australia and in that area are not convinced that the Tasmanian tiger is extinct. Some people say that there's still some that exist in the wild, but there's an ongoing effort. I don't know. I understand where you're coming from, Bill, but I don't see anything particularly wrong with that. It's kind of neat. But here's the thing, though, is what people are afraid of. That if we start doing this with animals, do we do it with people? You're already seeing some genetic manipulations. But, and people say, well, you're playing God, but if you could go in and correct things in babies or even in the genetic makeup of babies that would prevent them from having a disease that's going to kill them when they're a year old.
Right.
I mean, or some birth defect that you could get rid of. Why wouldn't you do that? I mean, I think God gives us knowledge to do things. So if it's for the betterment, glory to God. He gave people the knowledge to do these things. So I
agree, Gary. I think it would, if they, let's say, perfected the CRISPR gene editing, and they could correct genetic mutations that cause terrible diseases, then why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they?
You of course have a personal interest in tumors and things like that, John, because of your son. But I mean, cancers and all of this other stuff that you could get rid of that predisposition. There are women that are born they're looking at having double mastectomies early because their mothers or their grandmothers died when they were in their 30s because of that. If you could correct that, why not?
Right.
I don't see an ethical problem there. That's what I guess is what I'm saying.
Well, I have to agree with you. I mean, I've got questions about it, but I mean, if they could take some of my DNA and put it in a bottle, shake it up, save it, pull it out, and have me back again after I'm gone, Bill too. I'm all for it.
Well, it wouldn't be really.
Well, now the question becomes, is the world ready for that?
Yeah. Ready for Bill too? I'm not sure.
Yeah. Are we ready for Bill two?
I'm not sure the world was ready for Bill 1. But we got him anyway.
Yeah, you got me anyway. And speaking of anyway, why don't we anyway go to next portion of our show right now?
my turn. And for this segment, I'm going to channel my inner Andy Rooney. Okay? Because I got a list of things here that I wish people would explain some of these things to me. Why do people not put their trash in trash cans? Garbage doesn't belong on the floor, on the side of the road, or anywhere else but in the trash. Oh, and nothing really belongs in toilets, in public toilets. Nothing belongs in those toilets except toilet paper or other flushables, and not a whole roll of toilet paper at once either. And that TP doesn't belong in the sinks or on the floor, either in the toilet or in the garbage. See point number one. Why would you even put traffic lights in major intersections and not include a left turn arrow, particularly if it's only a 2-lane road? I was on the nightmarish McKellar Road in Hall County between Oakwood and Buford recently. That's a 2-lane road. Bill will be able to back me up on that. It's a 2-lane road with nowhere safe to pass. And at a couple of intersections, I counted 8 or 9 different traffic signals, none of which had a turn arrow. Oh, and do we really need 8 or 9 different traffic signals at one intersection? And what's with the current fascination with roundabouts, or traffic circles, as they're sometimes called? Are they really that much more efficient than 4-way stops? I know they're a hell of a lot more expensive than 4-way stops. Is it because people just run through those stop signs? Or are they just too stupid to know how stop signs work? Speaking of stupid, is it really necessary to include warnings about using electrical devices in the shower? I guess somebody did one time, and, well, we probably know how that turned out. Do we really need to tell people not to take a certain drug if you're allergic to it? Yeah. Oh, boy, I really enjoyed that explosive diarrhea, projectile vomiting, and breaking out in hives all at the same time. Boy, I want me some more of that. In public life, what's up with uncontrolled growth? I mean, there's going to have to be some growth. There's no doubt about that. But and I know why people move down south with us, especially from up north where it snows 8 months of the year. But for those fleeing those crowded cities, don't they know by overwhelming the schools and the infrastructure here, they are creating exactly the kind of environment they're trying to get away from? And who keeps allowing this? And what about all these big empty warehouses you see on the side of the road? And some of them encroaching on neighborhoods. I mean, who builds such things on spec? Looks like a lot of money is just sitting there, plus they eliminated a bunch of trees. Why do schools keep serving things the kids won't eat? Well, I mean, I know it's all about nutrition and all that kind of stuff, but it's not real nutrifying to you if nobody eats it and it goes in the garbage. The amount of food we waste in this country is incredibly massive. And to our point earlier, why do these countries keep attacking Israel? Don't they know they will retaliate? I mean, they always do. Expect it. Why does a multi-billion-dollar corporation such as Walmart expect me to check out my own groceries? I mean, they got more money than some countries, but they can't pay somebody $10 or $12 an hour to run a register. I was in Walmart the other night, and you know how many registers they had open besides the self-service stuff? 1. Hey, give me a discount if I check out my own groceries. How about that? Oh, and speaking of checking out, why can't all checkout clerks be as fast and as efficient as those at Aldi? And what has happened to holding people accountable for their actions? Now, I'm not talking about major crime, although that's problems, but just in day-to-day situations. Are people so fragile that we can't do anything, even gentle corrections, for fear of damaging their self-esteem? We've seen some major faux pas in this country with things blowing up or crashing down and we've got problems with integrity and discipline, but I'll bet you we lead the world in self-esteem. You know what all that self-esteem will get you? Well, you take all that self-esteem at about $3.50 and it'll get you a gallon of gas. Oh, and that's another thing. That gas price is a whole other problem which should have been addressed about 50 years ago in the first oil embargo in the 70s. But here we are, and history has repeated itself. God help us all, because apparently many times we cannot help ourselves. That's my time out, and I'm Gary Glenn. Thanks for yours.
This webcast is brought to you by William Lofton Photography. They can be found at williamlofton.com. Offering event residential portraiture at williamlofton.com.
Okay, welcome everybody. If you're watching live or if you're watching later, tonight I'm going to finish up my 3-part series about inequality. Last week it was about inequality taking over and all the bad effects of that, concentration of wealth, loss of opportunity, monopolies, price collusion, suppression of wage growth, and access and influence in the legislative and judicial systems. Those are all bad things that happen, and we're right in the middle of a period of high economic equality. So what can be done to restore the balance? There are 2 or 3 things that have been proven to be effective in the past, or through studies, simulation, have shown themselves to be effective in restoring the balance. And those things are, I'm going to go through them 1, 2, 3 really quick, and then talk about the benefits of each. Eliminate corporate tax havens, raise the income tax on high earners, and create a wealth tax. And none of these are really new ideas. Some of them have been in place in the past and worked. And so if we eliminated corporate tax havens for multinational corporations, that would repatriate a lot of tax revenue that is never gets collected now. And what that would take is a coordinated international tax policy, coordinated to the level of, say, climate change. And that has been slow to make progress. So what I would say is that's a good idea, but I'm not expecting it to get off the ground anytime soon or be effective for a long time, but it would go a long way to resolving things. Raise the income tax rate on high earners, and specifically 30% on incomes of $1 million or more per year. You and I typically pay 22 to 25%, and asking wealthy people who make over $1 million a year in income to pay 30% is not too far out of bounds. In fact, it's entirely reasonable. Your tax system ought to be progressive at the higher end. That would add a lot of tax revenue. Last thing is to create a wealth tax where every year people with a lot of net worth, a lot of assets, would pay 2% on assets over $50 million or 3% on assets of over $1 billion. And so these three things all put together would restore balance by basically taking tax pressure off of me and you, the middle class, and putting it on the upper end of the income spectrum and getting them to carry their weight, which they have in the past and they're not now. So that's it in a nutshell. By the way, my comments about this are based on a book called The Triumph of Injustice by Emmanuel Saiz and Gabriel Zuckman. They wrote their book after Capital in the 21st Century by Thomas Piketty came out in 2014. They took the ball and ran with it and came up with a lot of ideas about resolving economic inequality. So really quick, that's thing one. Thing two, maybe more interesting for everybody else, is answers to two questions. Number one, why has my auto insurance increased so much? Gary mentioned this last week. It's because of higher car values, higher cost of replacement parts, higher legal costs and medical care. The number of car accidents per capita has gone up. Thank you, distracted driving. We have more severe weather events, which damages floods. Basically, flooding is the largest part of that damage. That damages more cars every year than it used to. And the labor cost to repair your vehicle if it's damaged has increased. So that's why all insurance companies are charging more for insurance premiums. And knowing the insurance companies, there's probably also a little bit of collusion going on that they're not talking about. They figure if one of them leads the way on higher rates, the rest of them can follow along and nobody will do anything about it. Second thing really quick is, why are home prices so high? Supply, supply, supply. There's two big things affecting supply right now. There are unsold homes that are just waiting to go on the market, but they're stuck. They're not going to sell because the sellers can't afford to buy their next home for a combination of reasons. Prices are high and mortgage rates are high at the moment. Also, there are a lot of boomers staying in their homes, aging in place. So that's yet another house not going on the market for resale. New homes are not being built to meet demand because developers and builders are discouraged over the high interest rates. Not just mortgage rates, but they borrow money to develop property, and those rates are high also. So that is discouraging new development, and it's difficult to find skilled labor now. We've been a decade with depressed building rates, and so people have gotten out of the business or aged out of the business. It's going to take a long time to build up that skill base to have people to build homes. So there's two interesting questions with some answers. If you want to talk more about this, come on out to our Facebook page and we'll chat more about it. Thank you.
Well, whether or not here we are, whether or not here we come, I don't know if anybody knows this, but I'm a gardener, and I thought I would just include that aspect of my life here on the show, and I have a video for you to watch and to give you an idea about my gardening. If you have any questions, you are absolutely can ask them on Facebook groups, friends, Intelligent Rambling friends, and I'll get back to you with the answer if I can answer it. But let's take a look at the video and see if you have any questions. Well, this is the best part of the garden. It's already tilled. Started planting. Let's see, let's get down here at the bottom so I can show you where everything is. That's watermelon, crimson sweet. That's watermelon, sugar baby, cantaloupe. That's a fig tree. It's just right there in the middle. And along through here, we got cucumbers. And then you come up one row, and that's butternut squash. Goes down through here till you get right here. And then you got eggplant. Goes down through here for all you weird people out there make weird videos. On the corners, I got here, here, and here. I got lemon cucumber. The third row is the row for peppers. And right now, so far, I've got 2 poblano peppers. And then we start with the tomatoes. You better see it right there. That's a yellow plum. Then I got a bodacious hybrid, and to the right I got another bodacious hybrid. And we got a San Margino. And up to the right of it, another San Margino. Then we got what's my all-time favorites, Roma and Roma. Then we got Abe Lincoln. Then we got County Cop making a lot of noise. Then we got black crims right here and right here. And then I got yellow squash. Top one is crookneck, and the bottom one is straight neck. And what I got coming in here, along here on these rows, is going to be corn. Silver Queen. All these through here will be Silver Queen. And if you'll notice all these marigolds, I'm going, what the hell is he doing with all the marigolds? Well, what I'm doing is keeping the damn deer out. This is a feeding ground for deer. I really don't want to shoot any of them, so I just put marigolds out, and that kind of runs them off. It helps anyway. But that is my garden 2024. The writing that you saw at the end, it says if you have questions or comments, which you couldn't read, if you have questions or comments, you can go to Facebook groups, Intelligent Ramblings Friends, and I would love to answer any questions you might have about gardening or any about that topic. I've been gardening for about, let's see, 50 years. Yeah, I've had a garden every year, and I've tried a lot of stuff and failed at a lot of stuff, but every once in a while I get a bumper crop. My blueberries last year were amazing. I got unbelievable amounts, and I should get about the same amount this year unless we get some really strange weather. Anyway, that's my take on whether or not tonight, And I guess we'll go to closing remarks. Well, here we are at finishing remarks. Let's see, we got one comment. That looks good. Looks great, Bill. Mr. John Cone right there. Thank you. It is.
Went that way. I had to throw in that comment. It really did look good.
I appreciate that. It's a terrace garden. In other words, you do a row, then you drop down and do another row, and then drop down. And it's I'm trying this for the first time. I've never done a terrace garden before, although I've been gardening, like I said, for 40 years, 50 years, whatever it was. And I've had a garden every year. And like I said, you have good years and you have bad years. And the last 2 years have been bad because it's been on the other side of my yard, where I moved my garden over there, and it just wasn't getting enough sunlight. So I put it to where sun starts hitting that area around 12:30 in the afternoon and stays until sundown. So it's going to be getting about 8+ hours of sun every year. So it should be a really nice garden. I hope so. It was a bitch putting in those.
It's a lot of work, and the work is just starting. It takes a little bit of attention like every other day.
Well, with the tiller, you think with a tiller it's going to be easy. That's not true. Number one, it's a terrace garden, so you're not tilling straight across the line. You're actually sideways. That don't work. So I had to take a shovel and dig in all the way down, pull out to make it a edge where I could get the tiller in and then run it. So you're talking about each row, probably 100 shovels that I had to dig out.
Wow.
And I've got 6 rows so far. I'm probably going to put in another row at the bottom and put in some beans that'll climb. That's another week or two before I do that.
Bill, you
God
were
bless
talking
you and everybody who
earlier.
likes to grow things.
Wait a minute. There's 2 talks at once. John, what'd you say?
Well, I was just going to say really quick. We know you mentioned the ring ceremony at Clemson, and we know somebody who a now retired professor of forestry at Clemson, Dr. Ricky Davis.
Yeah.
Shout out to Dr. D, wherever he might be. He was at Clemson for a long time.
Yeah.
And Gary?
Well, I was just going to say, Bill, God bless you and everybody else that likes to grow things, because I'll just go to the produce department and pick them up. Y'all grow them, or you can give them to me, and I'll be happy to eat them. But,
well, to me, it's I enjoy gardening. I enjoy that first tomato that I'm gonna pull off and bite into it, standing out there in my yard, and go, "Oh my God!" I cannot. We all know I was a chef for 30 years, and so food tastes different to me than most people. I don't have a sophisticated palate, but I've got a intelligent palate, if you would. I know what it's supposed to taste like. And
like intelligent ramblings.
It's intelligent. My palate is like our ramblings. It's intelligent. And it's intelligent ramblings because we give our opinion, and we're all pretty damn intelligent. So, that's what it is.
Yeah.
And,
yeah. Some people might argue that point occasionally, but that's we don't care.
Allie said food palate is a blessing and a curse. That's true. That's true. You know how many places I've gone to eat and the food was terrible, and I went, "Ooh, that's so good." Nobody knows who I'm talking about, so I won't bring it up. But it can be a curse if you know what it's supposed to taste like. Gentlemen, I hope you all have a great week.
Yeah, you too. We wish William and Alex Howington safe travels on their journey through the Lone Star State. They actually went out to watch the Braves and the Astros play. So, of course, you guys remember that William spent a lot of time when he was a boy in Texas. So he knows his way around out there pretty good. And we hope they have a good time and safe journeys home.
Awesome, Dawson. We'll get him back here soon.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for watching, and thanks for your comments, and spread the word. We enjoy having folks to talk to.
We absolutely do enjoy it, and we appreciate the people that stick with us and enjoy the show. And you guys give us your comments, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time. Y'all have a good evening.
Good night.